everyone, and welcome to the End I Thought podcast. Yes, I am aware that I did not fumble over my own podcast. I feel like that's a good thing. I'm very proud of myself because we have four of them. So, like, remembering which one you're recording for is always a thing. Yes. Okay, now I'm done. That was supposed to be my funny bit. That's the whole funny bit for today. And that's probably the part that's hilarious because it wasn't that funny. And we'll note it, by the way. Oh, wow. Good job to me. Yes. I remember to introduce myself because y'all know I've gone through an entire podcast and forgot. So good job to me. I remember to introduce myself. And I'm one of the And I Thought ladies, and we wrote books. Go figure. An author on a podcast about writing books and other things. And other things. Yeah, so you would have to guess that one. So yeah, we wrote books. The books are And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy, If Only I Were Me, A Memoir in Verse, Foreign Coffee, Widow's Web, and Widow's Debt. That is 6 books. So you can get those 6 audiobooks wherever audiobooks are sold. And just in case you're wondering, did they scale back? No, we didn't. We still have 19. There's still 19. So if you want the other 13 books, you can go to www.andithoughladies.com. And if you want the other 13 books, congratulations for being a good reader. I mean, oh my goodness. You are committed to this. Read on, my friend. Read on. I can talk about me and my books all day, but you're not here to hear about me. It's kind of sad that you're not here to hear about me. Made a whole podcast so I could talk, and you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear from our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
After that, I think I'm boring compared to you. I have no books, a couple of articles I've written, but that's about it. So my name's Jo Mathisen, LaMarca Mathisen, and I am the co-executive producer of the M Factor, Shredding the Silence on Menopause. Before that, I was the executive producer of the 4th hour of Today with Hoda and Jenna. And before that, I worked with Hoda and Kathy Lee and Hoda. And I am a leadership management coach in my day job. And those are 3 things you should know about me.
Somehow I feel like my resume is seriously lacking now.
No, your resume with 18 books, did you say? You're not lacking anything. And how many podcasts? 4, did you say?
Yeah.
I
But
don't think.
that's like, yeah, so you were like, when you got finished, I was like, and when I grow up, I'm gonna be just like her. Oh,
Well, then you're going to need this, a fan for your hot flashes.
ooh, I cannot wait to be
No.
warm. Because
Hmm.
I don't want to have hot flashes, but I cannot
Yes.
be warm.
Yes. Don't jinx yourself. I said the same thing, and it's not good. It's really not good. It
Okay.
doesn't work like that. It works where you're either like, whoosh, the fire from within is burning until it hits the outside and you're dripping in sweat, and then it goes away and you're freezing.
Okay, this really, really sucks.
It kind of does.
So I am the group narcissist. So I'm gonna talk a bit about me, Joe. I'm so sorry.
Good. I'm glad to learn about you. So talk away.
So when I was younger, apparently the hormones did a flip thing, and I had hot flashes for an entire like month for a minute there. I would have like one a week, and I was like, "What is this? This is internal Hades." Like it's like all of a sudden you caught on fire from head to toe, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's no amount of cold. You could walk into a freezer with not a stitch on, and you're still gonna be warm. It's like you're gonna melt ice in the freezer. And then they told me, and I was like, "Oh no, I refuse to come back to you ever again." I changed doctors because I'm never having that up. I'm never gonna have that diagnosis again. I'm not that old.
How old are you? Can I ask? Or would you rather not say?
Oh, I never say. A lady never tells, right?
It depends. But if you'd like to remain a mystery, I totally hear you.
I definitely would prefer to remain a mystery.
Okay.
But how did you get involved in the M Factor as like a play, right?
No, it's a documentary.
Documentary.
It is a documentary that is airing on PBS. And it's actually been all over the world. It's made its way all over the world. So it started because my hot flashes were awful, and I had this terrible pain in my ankles, and I would go running and I'd come home with hives, and I would take a hairbrush and just scratch my entire body with the hairbrush. And I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was falling apart. And I met a friend who I met a mutual friend introduced me to Tamsin Fidel, who is my partner in this, along with Denise Pines and Kobe Atlas. And Tamsin said, I'm going through the same thing. I tried this. I saw this doctor. I was like, okay, let me try that. I'll see this doctor. And we would go back and forth and compare notes when we realized it was menopause. And if we didn't know about it, because we were both journalists, if we didn't know about it, then probably there were lots of women like us who didn't know about it. So we decided to make a documentary. And then we met Kobe and Denise. And Denise has a tea company that it is a menopause tea company called Tea Botanicals, and she's been throwing these huge events in LA called Wise Pause. So she knew what she was talking about. We were learning, and the four of us got together and we made this documentary to help other women. And our at the beginning we thought, okay, we're going to throw this up on YouTube and hope that some of our friends see it and then some of their friends see it and they just keep spreading the word. And we came up with this documentary and it just took off like wildfire. And it is largely self-funded because people said, oh, there's no audience for menopause. But you know what? In the last 4 months, we have done about 500 screenings in more than 40 countries all over the world. Yeah.
I don't understand some people always say things like, no one wants to see that. And you're like, well, considering that like almost half the world are women,
Yeah.
we might want to see something
Yeah.
about us.
Yes. More about us.
Half the world has a semi vested interest in knowing it.
Yes. And if you live with a woman and if you love a woman, you need to know these things because it just helps you. There are menopause affects the brain, and it affects everything, right? The brain affects your sex drive, the brain affects your memory, brain affects a ton. And there are a lot of divorces that happen in the menopause years. So
I, I don't know about these things, but I'm sure learning. I was like,
well,
I should be taking notes.
I've recently learned that menopause hits the brain at about 35 and then or perimenopause. And then perimenopause continues into your 40s and it just kind of like creeps up on you, right? Like I had this ankle pain. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning without pain in my ankles. And then as soon as I went down the stairs the first time, it would disappear. And that lasted for a couple of months. And then anxiety set in, and I thought, oh my God, what's happening to me? Why am I so nervous doing things that I never thought about before? And then that kind of went away. Like just things creep in and they creep out and they creep in and they creep out. And so it's good to learn about it when you're your age and young because then you know what to, and when this things start happening to you, you're not like, oh my God, am I dying? You're more like, I got this. Uh-huh.
I think it's important to learn, especially if I'm going to decide to do this, like a career at, at the age that I am. Then I definitely need to think about, well, am I going to be slowing down? I heard about brain fog.
Yes.
Like I did a writer's retreat, and this lady was like, I didn't know what was wrong with me because my brain fog was just so bad, and I was like at the top of my career, and I was a great professional, and then all of a sudden, I just could not like get it together. And
Yeah.
it took her 2 years for someone to be like, "Oh, this is perimenopause," and I'm like, "Oh no, not that! I can't have that happen. I read everything from my head."
I know you always say it's not going to happen to me, and then somehow it just does happen to you because we're only human.
I assume it will happen. I'm one of those people like when I was younger, things that would not happen to anyone happened to me. And I'm going to share a funny story about me because I
Well,
like about me.
I'm going to sit back and listen to your funny story. Tell me.
For instance, I even wrote about this in our Misfit guides where one day I went to go pump some gas and somehow I got my skirt caught up, wrapped around in the gas hose. Still don't know how that happened. It's a triple loop in my gas hose. And the only way I could pump gas was to lift my skirt because it was stuck in the gas hose like that. And I sat
Dark out.
I had a friend of mine get out the car and cover the backside so I could pump the gas. I was like, we'll figure it out later. I just need gas right now in the car. These things don't happen to anyone else but me. So I assume this will happen to me.
It will happen to you. As Dr. Sharon Malone says, if you were born with a uterus, it will happen to you.
There you go. It will happen to you.
It'll happen.
Like for anyone out there listening and they heard the gas story, that won't happen to you. But
No. Unless you were born with a skirt.
so I do have to ask about your other profession as well.
Sure.
So you were the former producer for the fourth hour of the Today Show. I know all my writing people on there are going to want to know, what does it take to get on the Today Show? So let me just get that out the way already.
To get on the Today Show as a guest.
The guests or to have something featured, they're just going to want to know that.
Well, to get on as a guest, whether you've got like a book or you have a product or you have, I don't know, you've done something special and you want to tell your story, you would pitch it to one of the producers on the Today Show and wait for them to get back to you if you've got a story. Now, keep in mind, about 2 to 5% of the stories pitched to producers actually make it to the air. So there's so many things that the show has to do before they they take stories. First of all, the producers who are on the show, it is their jobs to come up with ideas to program the show with. So there's that. And then there's the stuff you kind of have to do when you're on the show. You kind of have to do the promo for whatever movie NBC Universal has coming out, or music, or whatever it is. So there's that, or TV show. So there's that. And then there are the regular segments that are on, and that takes up about, I don't know, about a third of the programming of the show. If you've got a book that you want to get on, you have to have a very special reason why you want it on, because most of the books are Read with Jenna books. So they're books that she chooses for her book club, and they're usually novels. Um, so if you're an author, you go through the book editor, and whoever the book editor is now, I've been gone 3 years, so I'm not sure. But you go through the book editor who decides, okay, we're going to pitch this to the 8, or we're going to pitch it to the 9, or we're going to pitch it to the 10, depending on the topic. If you have a product, um, it's hard because the Today Show is considered news, and you can't come on to sell your product. Now, if you're a celebrity and you're Sarah Jessica Parker and you have your shoe line, but you also have other things to talk about, yes, you can mention your shoe line. But you can't just do a segment on shoes unless, of course, there's also new situations in where you can the NBC News or the Today Show will get a commission on products that are featured on the show, and they'll disclose that. So in other words, if you're you and you decide, okay, I want to do the 10 best sunscreens because I just want to, an expert on, I'm a dermatologist and I can do then often the show will try to figure out how to get some sort of commission off those sunscreens that are sold on the show. And they do this because years ago, when before you were born, there were only like 7 stations on the air. So there wasn't a lot of competition. But now nobody's watching television anymore. More people are, they're turning to their phones for news or entertainment or clips. And so the networks have to come up with a way, all the networks have to come up with a way to figure out how they're going to pay their staff. And so this is one of the ways that all the networks are working now. So they're out there with it, and they'll say we may earn a commission from some of the items that we're talking about. But it's the way things are done. So getting your product on is hard unless you know someone and you're willing to, if you just have a product, right? And you're willing to kick in a little.
Thank you. See, everyone's happy now. Oh,
okay, good. Okay. We accomplished that.
We've accomplished that. Let's one more question about the Today Show, then we're going right back to the M Factor. So what is it really fun being there? And do you get to eat the food that the chefs prepare?
Yes, it's so much fun being there, number one. Yes, you get to eat the food the chefs prepare, which is so good. Even better is you get to drink the cocktails that the chefs prepare. And it's fun. And you know what? When you work there, you kind of live there. You're with everyone for so many hours a day and early mornings, and you're kind of in the trenches, and everyone becomes family. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful place to work. It's very hard for me to leave. Um,
Oh,
and but it's a wonderful place to work.
so much. You sound so sad about this. Okay. Now back to the M Factor, as I promised. What was the hardest challenge about getting the M Factor together and then moving it forward to the audience that where it needed to be?
The biggest challenge I'd say was funding it, because we literally started shooting it with my phone, and some of the film is shot with the phone. um, and then we as we went along, we started to get more interest, and it took us 3 years to do. So we started to get more interest and more interest in it, and we did get some funding, which was amazing, because we never would have been able to finish the film if we didn't get enough funding, but we did. And then and then getting it on PBS was another challenge. But our partners have had different documentaries that aired on PBS, so they had already a way in. And I honestly don't think that PBS was ready for the success and the demand there was going to be for the M Factor. I mean, when you think we live in an aging population, and really anybody over 40 is affected by perimenopause or menopause, and this answers a lot of questions that we just never got. And we didn't get it. You know why we didn't get it? Take a guess why we don't have the information. Because there's no funding for women's health. Not none, but a tiny little minuscule funding for women's health. Now there might even be less. I don't know, but there's no funding, and because of no funding, there's not a ton of research. And in fact, more than 70% of our doctors are not educated in menopause. So it's so hard to find a doctor who knows what they're talking about. And if you can find one, hold on to that doctor and appreciate their knowledge, because it's really difficult. But more and more, we'll see that change now.
I definitely know that you're going to be one of the stepping stones to getting to that change.
I
Okay, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. But first of all, we need to know
Yes.
where we can watch the M Factor and support it and let our other friends know that we should be watching this.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, you can watch it at PBS. Go on your PBS. Every station is different. Every city has a different PBS station. So go on pbs.org, find out where it's airing. And you can go to the mfactorfilm.com, and you can host your own screening. And there are whole directions in there if you want to get your friends together and host a screening, or whatever it is you want to do, but you can see it that way as well.
Side point: are you making an Emmy run for this?
Well, I'd like to say maybe.
Should. You
Well,
need to this.
we've entered the nomination process, so we
Yes.
hopefully, yes,
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
yes.
And let's just go with let's manifest it out there. When you get nominated, what are
Yes.
you wearing?
I was gonna say, what should I wear? I don't think black. I think maybe a bright fuchsia color, because that's the colors that are in the logo.
Yes, I agree. I so agree. I know what I'm wearing this year to the Emmys, the exact same thing I wore last year.
And
Um,
what's that? Pajamas?
no,
Because
no,
I usually wear.
I have a very long, pretty gown, and I was like, I paid for it one time. I will be wearing it to the Emmys for the next 5 years.
Do you really go to the Emmys? Oh, you go. I watch them on TV. That's why I watch them in my pajamas.
Oh my god, that must be fun.
Well,
You
you
know
better
what?
high
I
five
should
me.
do that instead. No, I'm not gonna go this year. I'm gonna watch my pajamas.
It's just a lot easier with a fire, and it's just a lot easier.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
But I expect a hug from you when we win and you're there.
Oh, I will definitely do. All right. So you guys remember that you can watch the show again. Just go ahead and tell us one more time.
The mfactorfilm.com.
And then you can find out everything that I'm up to and the missing Jade when she's, you know, better in here at www.andithoughladies.com. Remember that wisdom? Ooh, I almost messed that up. Almost. I was about this close. When you go down to the page, you can go down to the bottom of the page and you can see the 3 charities that we proudly support. We're actually vetting a 4th soon. So we may be 4 charities that you can proudly support. And you do not need to have funds to do that. You can give them information, or sometimes you can get your hands dirty and build like an orphanage or something. But so we thank you in advance for that.
I love
Now,
that.
remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Winona. Oh, and the missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Bye.